What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage, and we are back today with a Forbidden Knowledge campaign event here that's starting off, as you can see, time recording, an hour and 46 minutes. Unfortunately, I would have loved to release this video a little sooner rather than later, but just had a busy weekend, you guys. Hopefully you catch this as you're preparing for the event that you can see here starting off very soon. If you guys may or may not know, this is one of the best ways to actually unlock characters in the game, especially when it comes about where we have an opportunity to do so for the next 2 weeks. So by hitting preview here, as you can see, the mode is going to be broken down into easy, hard, and heroic. Now keep in mind, this is going to be a lot more difficult than previous campaign events, as this has been reworked now into this new heroic difficulty, which many players have already outlined that it's going to be harder, but so as long as you still have a decent team synergy, should be okay. And keep in mind too, when you hit the additional eye for details, they do recommend that you have a squad level 85, gear tier 15, ability level 6, so forth, but these are always just recommendations and always do tend to be a little inflated. So I don't expect to level up all 4 or 5 of my characters to be that high, but definitely they'll be in that 75-80 range for sure, as you guys will see from the roster that I am planning to bring in. So with that being said, you guys, the other notable caveat is having 5 unyielding characters that are required. So in case you guys are doing this for the first time, again, this is one of the best ways to actually unlock a character in the game. And how you can do about this is that these 3 modes are really set up kind of like campaign events. You know, if you're going through your regular campaigns, you're going to get energy, so you're going to get refreshes along the way. And then what you can do is, similar to the campaigns, you can just go ahead. Let's just pretend right now that this is actually the new event, and you can actually farm these specific nodes. Obviously, you have to go through and actually unlock the nodes first, and if you can do it with the 3-star unlock, then you can continually farm for those fragments. Now, what I highly recommend you guys is to actually go through and refresh your energy at least 4 times a day. It's similar to how we actually refresh campaign energy right now. If we go about and hit this golden arrow here, right now I do have this refresh, but generally if you didn't have these refreshes here, it would cost 50 power cores. I would recommend doing that at least 4 times a day if you have the power cores to do so, especially over the next 2 weeks, because that's ultimately going to be the best way to farm specific nodes and work top down. That's going to ultimately grant you fragments that you can generate, and then by doing so, you can go to the supply store here, hitting orbs. It's going to add to these unyielding orbs that you can see here. Right now we don't have any fragments, but that's essentially how the process is going to flow. That being said, you guys, what I also like to do is take a sneak peek of these orbs to see, are they worth farming for? What kind of character shards can we expect? And I must say, based on recent events that we've seen, this is definitely hands down one of the best orbs I've seen as of late. There's a very great selection of characters that just gonna add a lot of value to your roster if you can take advantage. So even if you don't want to ultimately be aiming for Doctor Strange Heartless, evil Doctor Strange, he's going to be a very prominent character in the meta as well. But there's a great selection here. As you guys can see, we have characters such as Scarlet Spider, Spider-Punk that aren't even farmable in the game yet. Magic, we got Silver Samurai, beautiful selection here that we can utilize. And especially a character such as Deathpool too, an absolute must right now in the meta, especially if you're working the Doom 1, Doom 2 raids, and she's an absolutely crucial piece for the Mystic Node. So I mean, that's absolutely going to be a great time right now to capitalize on that, you guys. So I do recommend participating in this event. Next question here, how do you participate? What are these unyielding character traits that we're referring to? Well, if you go to the roster and you actually hit the filter, what you can do is scroll to the bottom, and you should be able to see unyielding here, and this is going to separate all the characters that you can or are able to use as part of going through these nodes and unlocking. Now, this is definitely going to be one of the hardest ones that have come about, because generally with these events, I think you can get by with a total team power of about 150 to 200k at most. But this event now is going to be reworked, so we are expecting a higher character levels being needed to actually go through these nodes and ultimately unlocking nodes. So I'm looking forward in this video to actually show you guys some character combinations, synergies that I see high level, especially if you have some of the characters I have. The only one that I really kind of needed to put a little bit of gear investment into was Scarlet Witch. Really, because I noticed in my roster I don't have a healer, and I feel like sustainability is going to be very important, especially in some of these nodes being very long. There can be a plethora of many enemies coming at you. If you don't have sustain, it doesn't really matter how many characters or how strong they are. If they can't hold HP or there's a heal block being in play, then that's going to be ultimately the issue. So you know, for your guys' reference, if you haven't built her up, keep in mind you still have 2 weeks. I do recommend building Scarlet Witch. She's going to be part of the meta, as you can see. I got her up to level 72. I think that's going to be a pretty good starting point. But luckily, I do have a 5 red on her. And again, it's because she's going to be providing healing. And with these events, they also usually grant you the character that's being promoted. So, I mean, in this case, Doctor Strange Heartless, he's going to be available on our side. So he's going to have that synergy with Scarlet Witch. So keep that in mind as well. We'll be adding 5 characters to be using for these nodes, but really we'll have 6, including Doctor Strange Heartless. So that's always the one thing that some players forget, especially when you're starting off and you're new to these events. That being said, you guys, now that we kind of rounded out Scarlet Witch, you know, what other characters should we factor in for the synergies? An obvious one is going to be the dual combination of Nebula and Gamora. A couple things, right? Nebula and Gamora have become the meta for the last little part of a year now with the Infinity Watch. You know, they really took over 2021 year, and especially with them still being resilient in the arena meta. Now that they're shifting out, they're still good value characters. Both of them are very free-to-play friendly. I wouldn't be surprised if most of you guys have them leveled up. I stopped leveling them up the moment I noticed that, you know, they're no longer part of the meta, and it didn't really make sense to bring them up, especially with them being damage driven. But I think having Nebula and Gamora, you've already invested in these 2 characters. They're going to provide a lot of support and damage overall. Another obvious one is one that you can achieve from the orbs as well as you progress through the campaign, and that's going to be Deathpool. A couple of things. Deathpool, she has a good heal for herself. She can actually inflict negative conditions and spread it to the enemies. She's got the Reap What You Sow ultimate ability that when charged 5 times, she can actually eliminate any foe. Unfortunately, she won't have raid synergies as well, but, you know, still a strong character. Even her basic has an AoE attack, and she can just do a boatload of damage, which I would recommend if you guys need that. So as you can see right now, my team is very damage heavy, especially if I factor in those first 4 I've mentioned. Nebula is going to really be there to add Skirmisher, you know, adding the vulnerability along the way, allowing for them to have the ultimate double tap with the strikers. Another good combination that we can utilize is also the Web Warriors meta. As you can see, both Spider-Punk and Scarlet Spider are available for us to use. Very powerful characters overall, especially if you guys already leveled them naturally because of the Doom 2 raids. We're going to have Spider-Punk using Trauma. He's got some good AoE damage and synergy. Scarlet Spider will be spreading negative conditions, extending them, as well as having some notable damage as well to support. But, I mean, overall, he's going to be more in a supportive role just because he's there to have offense down, the slows, especially with how notable his basic does that, and the defense downs as well. So, that's what he's going to be meant for. Another good character overall is Baron Zemo. I don't have him built up just because I don't really utilize him too much, but he's always been a staple, easy access early in the game. I love the fact that he has supportive capabilities, right? He's got an ability block. He can strip away positive buffs from the enemies, especially when he's charged and start a turn. One of the fastest characters in the game for sure. Another character I would recommend to see some potential synergies here is also the Colossus combination with Phoenix, right? We see both of them here. Phoenix has always done a lot of damage. Likely a lot of players would have invested in her back in the day when she was part of the meta, but I mean, still really good overall. You know, she can strip away the negative conditions on the team, has a really powerful ultimate ability, especially at Dark Phoenix mode. And fortunately, with these campaign nodes, it doesn't really matter if she falls because this is not like Dark Dimension where you can't utilize characters again. So you're gonna have Colossus there to soak up damage, which is really nice. So I would recommend them. Good characters overall. Another notable one is I do like Ghost. I utilized her quite a bit in Dark Dimension. She can extend negative conditions. Her basic attack can actually reduce the turn meter. As you can see, if we're having her a striker, she can really control the situation. So that's really kind of nice. Unfortunately, she does have synergies with Dark Dimension, which is not going to resonate well with this. So, I mean, she'll lose value there overall, but I already have her built, so I can likely make 2 unit teams out of that, right? You can see Yellow Jackets here as well to have synergies if you have him built up, but otherwise, I wouldn't recommend too much there. Other potential combinations, high level, is the Young Avengers meta that you see. You know, Amit Chavez, Echo, as well as Kate Bishop. They're part of the Young Avengers. If you built them up for war, this would be an excellent time to utilize them. Obviously, they wouldn't have the synergies they normally would have in war, but I mean, if you already invested in them, it would make sense to utilize them. Lady Deathstrike, Silver Samurai, very powerful characters in terms of supportive as well as offensive capabilities. If you have them built up, they're a good dual combination as well. and even Magic here being at the end can synergize with Phoenix and the Colossus combination. So good news is there's a lot of different varieties of characters here that we can utilize, and that's going to add value. But ultimately, I would strongly encourage, if you guys have already built up these top 5-10 characters I have showing on the screen, I think they're going to add a lot of value, especially with them being part of the meta already. So there you guys have it. I hope this video was able to help you guys. This is looking like a really promising and fun reward. I'll definitely try to showcase some of my videos and see if this team even works out, and then let you guys know. So wish you guys all the best of luck. Hope this video was able to give you some insight and prepare as the event is coming about. Thank you as always, and I'll see you guys in the next one.